Well, school is back in session for some kiddos around the area. With that, sports are picking back up for the season.
That's right. With us today is Dr. Brian Curtis to discuss how sports impacts the mental health of our students. Dr. Curtis, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Glad to have you here. So first and foremost, how does playing sports affect the mental health of children and teenagers?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of studies out showing that the positive impact of sports for the mental health of adolescents in particular. But there's been an occasional study where maybe there wasn't a benefit to it. But most recently, they just came out with a study last month showing of about 11,000 surveys actually showing team-based sports actually have a very positive impact over kids that do not play sports.
All right, I played sports since I was 4. You can add my name to that survey list, 11,001. Well, what is the difference between those playing team sports versus the individual sports? Maybe golf, maybe tennis, gymnastics.
Yeah, you know, that was probably the most interesting thing that came out of the study was when they looked at that, the people that play team sports actually had better mental health indicators than the people that played individual sports. And then when they looked at the individual sports people, they actually had worse mental health indicators than the kids that did not play any sports at all. And so it was really kind of surprising. Now, there can't be any causal links, but we look at like Osaka, the tennis player, and Biles, the gymnast. Now, they're the 0.001% of all athletes, but it kind of brings that a little bit more to light of what's occurring within these individual sports versus team sports, and then looking at kids that aren't playing any sports. And we don't really have an answer. I mean, there's theories behind it and stuff like that, but.
Yeah. Well, what kind of mental health benefits does playing sports have on female athletes particularly?
Yeah, so the female athletes have shown whether they play team or individual sports, actually they have less kind of risk-taking behavior and better social interactions of just being in a sport itself compared to females that do not play sports, which, you know, that's a very promising thing, especially females now at adolescence with social media and body image issues and stuff like that to really give them, I think, that boost of confidence that they are doing this and give them that reassurance. And I'm sure that's some of the stuff going into that.
Gotcha. When it comes to these individual studies, I know if you're the only person out there on the tennis court, all the pressure's on you. Is that being looked at as part of these studies?
Yeah, you know, that's some of the theories behind it. You know, everybody's played a team sport, and you know, somebody blows a play at the end, but there's 17 people that blew the play also. Yeah. And so whereas the individual one, you know, you miss the shot, you miss the vault, you miss something, and there's really, it's just you, and it's a lot of pressure. And it's not saying that you shouldn't put your kids in individual sports. I mean, if they love it, let them do it. I mean, the athletes or sports or any kind of activities are good for kids. But it just gives us something to really kind of look at it, especially over the last year or two when we've seen these high-profile athletes pull out, which I've never seen before in my life, where I've seen individual athletes just pull out of a competition, especially the Olympics.
Right.
So, I mean, that's huge.
And obviously not every child is interested in sports, so what are some things that, you know, maybe parents can do at home, or like what are some things that kids can do at home on their own to get more, you know, active, involved?
Yeah, you know, I don't think it has to be sports. I think it's more of kind of an organized activity. Right. And so not every kid's going to be an athlete, you know, and that's fine, you know, and everybody does it, but there's always something out there for them, usually within the school, whether it's band or it's a theater or anything, and it's more of the kind of social interaction forcing them together. And when I was thinking about it this morning, I mean, I had a discussion about my son with my wife, saying whenever he goes to his practice and he comes home, he's more talkative than when he doesn't go. And I really got thinking about it, and I really think it's social media. You know, it's social media, it's the, you know, they hang out on their Xboxes and their things, and they're not forced to kind of interact with one another on a one-on-one basis. And I really think that's the big component of it. So it doesn't have to be sports, it just has to be something where they get together.
All right, well, Dr. Brian Curtis, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will share all of this information up on our website, that's ciproud.com.